Hello, Capricorn. Thank you for turning into your general read. For the main read, I'm using the Morgan Greer Tarot by Paul Foster Case and Arthur Edward Waite. For the supportive cards, I'm using the Angel Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Okay, let's go. One. Oh. I feel like I want to pull one from the bottom and the top here. And this is pushing through. Alright, what's going on? So, I know I do love reads, but this doesn't have to denote a romantic relationship. I'm just going to put out there that this could. Because I'm getting two cards here. I'm getting a couple cards here. Let's put it this way. At the very least, because you got the Lover's card here, this is a very close, intimate relationship. It does not have to be sexual. So this could be somebody you're extremely close with, like a best friend, or like it's a very platonic thing, like a child, or an aunt, a relative, somebody. This is an important, very mutual respect, mutual adoration, very much caring about the other person and what happens to the other person. So it doesn't have to touch on a romantic situation, but I'm feeling with this it's very possible. So you're going to have to decide as we go forward if this does or does not resonate as a romantic thing for you. As always, I love to hear the comments. I do read them. I need to get better at responding to them, but I do read them. Sometimes I'm not at a place where I can respond because I see them on my phone, but I do read them. What are we starting with here? Your mind has the Ace of Cups. This overflowing love in the very beginning. So you have the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Rods here too. Which it feels like there's a very strong matchup here. You have a lot of love for the person. I feel like this is directed at a person. Again, it doesn't have to be a romantic, but I do feel like it's directed as a person. There's somebody you care about greatly. In the platonic sense, just to reiterate, for example, like a mother for their child, sometimes like that, like you love this person, whatever happens to them, it means a lot to you. You want to make sure they're taken care of and that they're okay. You have a tremendous amount of love for them. Somebody close to you, this person we're talking about, they've gone through a quick change. And it's weird because there's a Queen of Pentacles going on here, which could denote an earth sign, granted. I feel like the reason it's coming through this way is because you might not expect it, or they're in it for the long haul. Okay, this change that's going on, they're in it for the long haul. Alright, so that's what we're talking about. It might have just started, but this change, they're in it for the long haul, and they're very passionate about it. I'm kind of getting like the Eight of Rods is talking about a change at the moment. I'm not really sure it's a shock, because I'm not really feeling like it's a shock to you. But this change, I feel like it's denoting a change. I feel like it's saying there's a change here, a noticeable change, and they're in it for the long haul, and you're aware of that. And I feel like you're concerned about it. You're concerned about this change. Because of that, you're trying to get more information. You're trying to get more information. You're not subject to just that person. Wherever you can get the information, like if it's the situation or people around the situation, you will do what you need to do and try to get information where you can because you're concerned. And you want to know what's going on because you're worried. Okay. That being said, before I go too far, you have these two oracle cards that it seems to be dragging through the whole situation. which is meditation brings answers and a peaceful resolution. What I'm getting from these two cards for you is that you're trying to keep everything smooth and nice, and you're being very thoughtful and deliberate. You're trying to think out ways where you could help and find out what's happening without rocking the boat too much. You're trying not to upset things. You aren't involving that. You're not going directly to that person if you're afraid it might upset them, but you are going around other. You're being very creative to find out, what ways can I get the information? What can I do to make it better? What help needs to happen here? You're being very thoughtful. Like, your heart is in a very good place with this whole thing, but you might be a little bit sneaky about finding out information and helping out here or there, totally with good intentions, but you don't want to upset this person, and you're afraid that if you don't handle it a certain way, they're going to have a freak out, or it's just going to go bad in some sense. So you're being very careful. You're trying to be very peaceful. You're thinking things through. You have a lot of mental activity, especially with the get more information. Like, you're looking for the information. You're actively going out and doing what you need to do. You're thinking about where you can get it, and you're doing it. But you're very, very smart to keep it very peaceful. You don't want people asking questions. Like, if you're trying to get more information about a situation somebody else is also a part of, you're trying to make it about them, and you're trying to kind of mask the real reason why you're getting into it, if that makes sense. You're being very, very balanced and careful. Okay. That being said, I'm getting a very very inspired. I feel like you're being pushed, on a spiritual level, to be honest with you. And this is it's not. I don't feel like this is bad. Just in case it's coming off that way, I don't feel like it's bad. You're getting the help to get the information through because it's a situation that needs to be handled. There might be a good reason why you're feeling this way. Although the cards on the other side seem good, you might be the part of the factor that makes it good. Okay. So going this far, we got the Four of Cups going in the middle of the reading here. Now, there seems to be a little bit of discord between you and this person you care about so greatly, however that matches. A little bit of discord in the sense of they're going out and they're going forward and doing what they want to do. They're not fettered, or I don't know if that's the right word. They're not affected. I don't know. They seem to just go forward with what they want. They made up their mind. They know what they want to do, and they're going for it. They're just continuing on. I feel like between the two of you, though, I feel like they don't want you to influence or make decisions for them, but you don't want them to go forward without a safety net, and you want to help them, and you're just kind of trying to make that point. I just want to be here as a backup just to make sure you're okay. And they're like, no, I'm fine. I just want to do this on my own. There seems to be a little discord in that sense. I don't feel like it's combative. I just feel like you want to help, and they're just, I don't really want the help, but you're but I want to make sure you're okay, and you're not getting the information directly from them, but you're being very peaceful. You're not overly pushing. There might be a reason for that. This might have happened in the past where you have, and it's backfired, so you're just being very careful and cautious with it. So, but there seems to be a little, the Four of Cups. I feel like you're offering help, but they don't want it. And it's a little, it's hard for you to kind of, you're eh. But I don't feel like that's satisfying you. Even though at this point I feel like you've gathered enough information where you feel like you know some things, you're trying to verify things and try to touch base, but they're not really, I don't feel like they're very receptive to it. That being said, let's keep going. In the environment, there's 4 cards that I think I'm going to address all on their own. Because they're going out and they're doing this. They're making this change. They're doing it. They also have the push to keep going. It says, listen to your intuition. Now, this might be also you coming towards them, trying to give some helpful hints. I almost feel like you found out some information, and by asking questions a certain way, you've actually educated this person on some things they need to watch out for. I feel like you're very sly with that. I feel like you're very good. Certain things you put out. Do you hear that in the background? Those jingles. I mean, seriously, I'm gonna turn that thing off later. I feel like you're educating them and you're giving them little nudges, like, you know, just to look out for certain things or make sure certain things are taken care of. Although you're doing this, they're not really responding to you in a way where you feel like they're really listening. But I feel like the information hits in a way that when the right time hits in the future, like almost like they can remember you saying something or remember hearing about something and they take action appropriately to make sure they're okay. So your information and you making this conversation does have a good effect. It is purposeful. It is good. Even though it seems like it's not well received, I feel like it is received on some level and the information is used at the appropriate time. Especially when I get the Six of Pentacles next to the success right here. I'm getting where this is the information you gave paying off. Because you were giving to them. And they heard you, and they might have acted like they didn't. That information came into play later. And they used it, and it brought them success. You helped. I don't know if they're going to admit it or tell you, but you did help. Situation keeps going. We have the King of Rods. I feel like the King of Rods is talking about this other person you're dealing with and how they're continuing on. They want control. They want say. They're just doing everything the way they want to do it. Right above this is you, Queen of Rods. You're still standing by to help where needed. I feel like, in this sense, you're supporting what they want to do. But you're very smart, because you're realizing they have to do what they have to do, and that's fine, but you care for them, you love them, and you're just like, you know what, if you want to be a pain in the butt about it, fine. I don't really care. But I'm still going to look out for you because that's what I do. And that's what you do for people you love. And that's how you feel about it. It works out quite well. You're like the strength. Like, I feel like the person themselves you're dealing with is very strong and doing very well. But you're like this backup. You're like this safety net. And if you're like, if they want it or not, I'm still here. And that's how it is. That's where we're going. I do feel like, I don't know if you're being appreciated at this point, but I know that you're having an effect. I think it's going to depend on your situation. Because I see the information you're gathering coming across and having a positive effect for the other person. I'm not seeing like the gratitude or anything going, like when I don't feel it going back. I feel like just kind of like coming down this way and then it should come back, but it doesn't. It kind of stops. I feel like they don't want to encourage you to keep going, so for some reason a lot of them, I feel in most cases, won't say anything. But the information you gathered did help, so it was a good thing. And I'm feeling like, when I feel like the information coming from you going down to them, and then them using it, and it kind of wants to come back, but they stop it, I feel like it would probably serve them better if they did appreciate it a little better. But, you know, everybody has to make their own choice. But I feel like it stops. Like, it's kind of like, they're like, oh, no. I encourage this, it's just going to get worse. No. And they won't, I don't feel like they tell you. That's what I really feel. And then I got the Eight of Swords. I feel like this is what the Eight of Swords is kind of saying, and maybe that's why I'm feeling that way. Now, usually that's somebody bound. I feel like they're bound in the sense that they don't want you involved. They don't want you to continue to keep involved. So they're like, I feel like they're aware that they should be a little bit more thankful and tell you how that worked out in their benefit. But they're feeling like the Eight of Swords makes me feel like they can't. Like if I tell you that worked out and that was a good thing, you're just going to keep doing it, and I don't want you to do that. So I'm not saying anything. That seems to be where they're sticking. You have the if you believe right connected with it. That being said, like they can be a little bit more thankful. They can push that back to you and tell you how they can still, they don't have to like shut it down completely. They can work this out and thank you for the help, and then also thank you for staying out of it after that, even though you probably won't. But because you went this far, but they can still give that gratitude. I feel like the if you believe is also like if you're watching this reading, realizing that you are making a good difference. pretty much the if you believe is sometimes that's just a card that it's what you make of it type situation. Because I feel like it's a little aggravating that you really did help and you made a difference and they're not acknowledging it. And I almost feel like you probably know that anyway. You may not know the details, but who knows. The way you got into this information to begin with, things might come back to you anyway, and you might find out that what you gathered for them actually helped them out. But I feel like you're probably not going to get that bad. I just don't see anything on your... That spot is literally open, so I'm not seeing anything come there. Being that it's open, it could. It could. And I feel like if it does, you're kind of initiating like, oh, I heard this was going well. How did that help you? And I feel like it's just you just kind of want to say something, so you do one of those things. And they're like, yeah, that did work out, and thank you, but I really would prefer blah, 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 blah. You do have a good effect here. You really do. But I feel like the reason information comes down and kind of stops is because they don't want you involved for whatever reason. And they're trying to stay controlled. But you're like, I love you way too much to let you fall. I'm always going to be your safety net. That's just how it is. It just seems to be how you feel, and it's just not going to change. And you're just like, why can't they just see that? Like, I'm not going to change. I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be the safety net. That's how it is. Okay, anything else? All right, so that's how that's going to end. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, go ahead and shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.